Like, when it rains, it pours. Like, when it goes bad, it couldn't be much worse for their side. It's just like having an anchor dragging you down. This game, though, it's been going relatively well. And the thing is, you have the sort of three horsemen of the apocalypse on Nemiga's side. You've got Speedak, you've got Lollipop, and you've got MDS all popping off. MDS, you normally look for the first two, and then either MDS Box or JO to be that third player. But once Nemiga get to three, that's where things actually start to get scary. And the problem is on the other side, the player, Dennis, you can't really harp on too much because they just haven't gone B. So if you're trying to retake almost every round, I'm not going to expect your statistics to be fantastic. But then you look at some of the other players like Faven and Dia have been having a really rough time. So far, only surviving one round. Spiddy's been doing all right, and Snatchy hasn't quite had the impact we would have liked from him. But the scary prospect is that, okay, Dennis, we starting to expect a fair bit on maps like Inferno, where he can play around, be the aggressor. On Mirage, he's the B site defender. If they don't go B, he can't have that impact. So somebody else has to be there stepping up. Now, normally I would look towards Faven and Dia. They're the two that need to be performing better. And at the moment, they both have 2 and 3 kills apiece, and we're going into round 10.
Yeah, especially because Diha has generally been playing pretty committed to the A site in these rounds. He's been the man that has been pressured by Nemiga, and he hasn't really been able to slow them down in some of these recent rounds. I still like the fact that Nemiga went for 3 fast A plays in those last 3 rounds. Especially the second one. I just think Sprout were obviously not going to stack the A site so heavily once again. Make sure to check out Hellcase. You can use the code SLTV15 for a 15% refill bonus. We're back into the action here, though, and MDS is taking the MAC-10 this time round for Nemiga after they didn't save the double orbs. Spiddy has a Nova in his hands, which I still rarely see get kills, let alone have massive impact. But who knows, maybe the Nova will work out this time. Well, never mind, it's already been dealt with, and Sprout only have 1 more defender on this B site.
Yeah, I feel quite bad for Dennis. It feels like wherever he goes, they go the other way.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's like, don't worry, guys. We'll swap this time. I'll play A. I got this. And then it's like, they're running B. It's like, oh, come on. I want to see someone. I want to get in a fight. Oh, the remaining 2 players. Dia might just try and get a gun, but at the same time, he's spent enough money that keeping that Kevlar, probably worth it. And MDS, well, like a bull in a china shop, just going to be running through, spamming bullets, making as much noise as humanly possible. They definitely know he's coming, that's for sure. And, well, Dia, he's made an extra $300, which might actually benefit him a fair bit. I do not want to see this MAC-10 brought into the next round, so hopefully that will just be something that ends up being dropped to the floor. But again, the half already won for Nemiga, showing us how strong the CT side like a T side with how aggressive you can be, and I think that's why Nemiga actually have a pretty good CT side of this map, because they do get aggressive, they do take map control away. So this isn't even one where you can go, don't worry, they suck at the CT side, because I don't even think that's true.
Yeah, no, this is a map where they're pretty good on both sides of it. I think exactly what you were saying, they have the ability to go more aggressive at times, and they obviously just play this map more, which is part of it. Double AWP set up in play for Sprout. They dropped that MAC-10, but Diha's taken the AWP on A. He was the man that was struggling to hold this site previously. This time he lands an early shot, and both of the poles picking up kills. Snatchy with 2 of his own, and it looks like Nemiga's A play will not be working this time.
Yeah, I think that might be partly down to the fact that their smokes, well, I'm going to say suck. Like, I think that's the those are not good smokes for the cross. They've given quite a big gap for Snatchy to play with. Molotov goes in. Box has a chance to find Faven, but he's got to check the right angle. It's close, but instead he's just hand-delivered the bomb. Nice shot from Speedak. Snatchy's got to be careful here. In fact, it's actually going to be an attempt to get through the smoke in time, but it won't be the case. a decent round for Sprout, the double AWP setup working nicely, and I guess that's the change they've had to make. The only thing that worries me a little bit is I don't know whether or not that'll be something that's successful every single time, and I'm hoping there's an AWP on the floor. Okay, there is an AWP, I was about to say.
Yeah, they're all good. I think now Nemiga will probably stray away from that early A play, though. Interestingly, Dihar has a ramp smoke he just lined up from CT spawn, which is kind of cool. And I'm hearing some chatter again here. We've already had some technical pauses. I'm hoping we can just keep on going. But with the movement I'm seeing from Snatchy, I have to assume that we have got another pause on our hands here. So Nemiga with an 8-3 lead. Again, probably already have enough. Again, if you have just joined us, we are on the third and final map of this upper bracket game between Sprout and Nemiga. Both these teams are beating their opponents to get to this point. And there we go, we're right back into the action. No time to waste. Nemiga finally straying away from the A site early. Looks like they might look for some mid control in this one. Speedak going to that position with the AWP. I think that's part of the reason why Snatchy hasn't been able to have as much impact, is that he's been playing mid in a lot of these rounds, and Nemiga haven't really put much focus on mid, but this time they will be trying to take this control.
Snatchy gaining a little bit of information. He's actually going to duck out of this angle. MDS surrounded by flames, but the bench is not going to catch fire this time. Now they have gained this mid control. Interestingly, it's actually not Box playing this angle. They have seemingly switched things up a little bit in terms of their initial position. Spiddy, he gets the timing spot on, and nobody's ready for that trade. Speedak was still watching into the window, and the small pieces of aggression the Sprout are starting to go for are a little bit more successful than their previous moves. Jo hasn't had a lot of luck over on this B site so far. He's still going to be probing in that direction. If he can get the kill onto Dennis, maybe that will pull the rotation away. And with the bomb still at top mid, it is going to have to be a retrieval mission from Nemiga, going back to get that important piece of kit. The fact is now, though, they don't really have any ground anywhere, so I'm interested to see where they'll actually go. It looks like it is going to be B, an impactful kill from Speedak. That at least delays the rotation, holds some players there, and he hits the shot as well onto Snatchy. The fake being sold, but the fact is no one's moved. Dennis is still here, and because of that, it's a comfortable...
A second to make sure he can save that one. Dennis finally having to do something on the B site, and he quickly steps up to the plate nicely. Would have been a bit more difficult if there were more players pushing B, but elsewhere, really relying on getting, I think, just that one kill on A that might have started to draw the rotations, but that didn't end up happening. It's always going to be solid. They come through, especially because Speedak could drop decision. box. Are starting to win some rounds, and Nemiga with Diha here though this time, so they know
Jo, he's not even going to check for a second. Even need the second player, just chilling down.
left with the Galil and 5 opponents. Definitely figured out that fast A.
Going into the T side. Especially even just in terms of their performance. D has started to hit some real shots with his AWP. On other maps, you don't really see him pick up the secondary too often. You sort of look towards someone like Faven to do it, but it's clearly within his repertoire. And leaves just Jo and Speedak trying to do some damage. I think normally, especially on the T side of Mirage, Jo is able to get away with a lot more in terms of his positioning around the B site. Today, he's been struggling. I think Dennis has had his number the majority of the times. He's tried to push in that direction, and any other time, it's mainly been a rotation back towards the A site. Snatchy still just trying to take the peak, and well, he'll connect his shots as well. Both AWPers doing the damage in this round, and Jo, well, he knows his final position. Faven will be there to help out. Flawless from Sprout. They'll have plenty of money to buy whatever they desire into this one. Could even pick up an all peach if they really wanted to. But for now, at least, they've got back to a 6-round scoreline. It definitely isn't going to be as dominant as Nemiga were hoping for when they started 8-2. And now with their last buy of the half, they're hoping they can at least secure their lead with a 9-6.
Yeah, that's what they will be wanting. We still haven't seen Nemiga go for any of those fast B plays, really. And it looks like we're not going to see it in this round either. They're taking some early mid control. And this time round, Snatchy's AWP isn't exactly positioned on mid. It's playing over on the B apartments instead. So mid control can be taken early by Nemiga. JO's taken quite a lot of damage in the process, though. In fact, that was Jo over at the B apartments who took all that damage, so he might have been legged by Snatchy. Either way, MDS has been boosted up into this window position, and Dennis has to be aware of this. Clears this close angle. He's watching for the smoke. Oh, he's not watched it long enough, though. Oh, somehow Dennis wins that fight. I thought he was screwed there, but he turns it round. MDS only lands a couple of shots, and Dennis just about has the awareness to win that one. Good start to the round for Sprout. They stopped that cheeky boost that MDS had going in one of the earlier rounds where he got the flank. They've denied him from doing that again. And the bomb's currently alone in B apartments. Oh, Snatchy might have spotted it there. Smoke goes down. Snatchy replies with one of his own. And yeah, I think they've seen the bomb because the rotate's coming in for Sprout already. Oh, they boost a second man, though.
Jo, he's just not going to connect. He's definitely been having a bit of a rough game, and now Lollipop alongside Speedak are going to have to do a hell of a lot of work. Spiddy just rounding the corner at full pace, takes down Speedak as well. And now Lollipop is the only one left. He started strong, but definitely fell off with the rest of his team. And now an 8-7 half, it really is anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, definitely hanging in the balance here on Mirage, thanks to that streak at the end there for Sprout. 8-7 scoreline, and we wouldn't have it any other way here in our upper bracket. I think into the second half, I'll definitely be watching for Box and his play in towards that connector position. I was saying earlier, he's very sticky in connector is the way I describe it. He's always hanging around in that spot. He's always trying to keep control of that position. And oftentimes he'll go aggressive through the connector with just one flash from his teammate. So he really likes to try and hold on to that area of the map. But Box has been having a pretty slow performance so far. MDS has also slowed down pretty significantly since he got those 10 kills on the board earlier on. And similar to Dust 2, MDS plays as the B site anchor on this map in the games that I've seen. So that could be something worth watching out for as well. We haven't really seen too much from Snatchy here on Mirage either. I was expecting him to be able to have a really good performance here. Normally it feels like this is a map where he's pretty free to make plays, he's free to roam. But again, Nemiga weren't fully focused on mid in a bunch of these rounds. Snatchy oftentimes was having to rotate over to A. So maybe that's why he hasn't been able to do quite as much. Maybe on the T side that will be able to change. By the way, the life of a B-site anchor is being shown on the stats, with Dennis being 7 for 6. He's not been involved too much in a lot of these rounds, but when called upon, he was looking pretty good. And on the T side, he should have more opportunities to rack up some frags as we're ready to get underway into the final half of this series. Unless we get overtime.
Oh, it's possible. We'll see if Nemiga are going to be able to get off to a good start on their CT side. Their pistol rounds have been pretty damn impressive so far throughout this series. We are going to see a bit of an aggressive peek out from MDS. He's been good so far this match, but he almost needs at least 2. Flashbang over the top. Does some damage, but he's left completely blind. Flashbang is perfect, and while already only a trade, Jayo's still trying to hold on to short, and he is going to get peeked, but already dinked twice. Very lucky to still be standing. Bomb now planted, and Sprout looks set to take their pistol. The CTs really do have to do something pretty impressive here. Box, I think he's already been spotted in the corner. They know he's there, and Snatchy just wide peeking to check how far forward he's actually managed to get. Tapping a few shots away, but definitely wary of the remaining players. And at this point, the bomb's surely too far gone. They don't have a kit anyway, so might as well just be saving the Kevlar. Lollipop's going to try.
Saving over this Kevlar as well, getting onto that B site early. Again, I was saying earlier, MDS had really slowed down. He couldn't get a kill on the hold, but Nemiga are going to go for the full spy here in the second round of this CT side. A couple of MP7s in play for Sprout. You don't often see 2 MP7s in the same buy, but Smitty and Dennis both going for them. Early smoke going down. Speedak's got a small gap to work with, but with the scout, it's not going to be too likely for him to land these shots. It's actually Speedak who takes a tiny bit of damage there, but he will just reposition. Nothing too significant occurring at the start of the round. Speedak now looking for this different angle in from connector. Smoke goes down, but it doesn't obscure his vision. Damage is pretty even on the trades though. Faven takes a tag, but Speedak also goes low. And Sprout still looking a little tentative in taking this mid control, but over at B, Dennis sneaks through the smoke. Almost gets a kill. He's been doing this a lot throughout this series. He's been trying to sneak through the smokes, trying to get those good timings, but wow, Jayo just absolutely annihilates him straight through the smoke.
Yeah, Lollipop's found another, and this round starts to be called into question for Sprout. They finally get themselves a pistol, and now they're struggling with the conversion. The scout tag connected onto Snatchy as well, although maybe not doing as much damage as you might have expected. He's got to be wary. There's another scout waiting for him as well. Speedak just on the cross. Box has found one through a box. And now leaves just Faven all on his own. 30 HP, 5 to find. Does at least get the first, but realistically, that extra chip damage is going to leave him even lower, and the time is a bigger issue. 25 seconds. Okay, a second one as well. Box just trying to maneuver himself around triple just to keep himself alive. He doesn't want to give Faven anything more, and the peek out from MDS will be there to close it. Galil will be retrieved, and AK as well. And Nemiga have successfully won their force.
Yeah, and Sprout will be hoping they can do the same, but they're only going to have pistols. This shot from Jo, just spamming it as well. So a bit lucky that he got that kill, but a bunch of the other kills from Nemiga didn't seem like they were luck. A lot of scout headshots landing. And Sprout do indeed go for the force, as I was suggesting. Pistols for most of their players. Speedak playing connector this time round rather than Box, and it's worked out for him. Box was flashing his teammate in for the fight. Dihar caught alone on that mid position. Sprout still looking for that mid control because the bomb is going to try and split onto A, but connector is firmly in the control of the CTs, and Speedak is landing some solid shots with this Galil already. Box, again, this is the angle we see Box play so often. And he's going to be ready for this boost. Oh, he must have spotted the leg there. He knows there's a man in window. And Box, therefore, knows there's another player close by. There it is. Good lineup on that kill. And they are aware of Snapchy's position. So Nemiga clean up across the board. Get themselves into a 10-8 lead. And that should allow them to turn it into an 11-8 lead, because Sprout won't be investing here. I'd probably expect them to fully save, to be honest.
Yeah, this doesn't really look like a round where you can afford to invest, especially with how much money is already on the other side for Nemiga. It's not like you're going to be breaking their economy or anything. Chances are this will be an awkward spot for the T-sides to be in. And a chance for Nemiga to really build up some cash on their CT side, which is what you really want to be seeing if they are going to be taking this one home. Of course, it's worth noting this is an upper bracket match. Our last lower bracket elimination match will be coming up after this to see who will be heading home and who will be heading on to face the loser of this game for a spot in the grand final. Of course, the winner of this game bypasses all of those extra matches and goes straight through to the grand final to face off for the majority share of our dynamic prize pool. As you can see at the top, I believe they take home a set amount plus, I think it's 40% of all the money made from the cases. So just remember, you can open up some of the cases on Hellcase. Well, go on, what's the specific one?
It's the Hellcup 8 Pro case.
There you go.
That's the one. I would love to see teams just nade stack this position, because Box, I know a lot of people play this spot in connector, but Box plays it almost every round, it feels like. And you can see why. He can spot over the smoke. They put down a second CT smoke there, so Box can continue to look for this angle. But I feel like Sprout must have already seen this at least once or twice. They definitely saw it in that one round where Box got the kill. And Dennis is just deciding to move through the connector smoke. Oh, Box is ready for it, though. Good kill with the Galil. Dennis not ready for the position that Box plays so frequently. Lollipop wins a fight over on A. That was Dihar just looking for a 1v1 duel, which didn't work out for him. And now Sprout have just got 3 players looking at mid, and Box continues to be a nuisance in this connector. That's what I mean when I say that he's a really sticky player in that spot. He just always seems to be there, always seems to get the drop on his opponents. And that helps Nemiga win yet another round. And Sprout are just getting shut out on this mid control right now. 12-8 Nemiga, and a chance for them to really skyrocket this lead.
Yeah, this is starting to get out of control. And it was one of the things I was a little bit worried about, is we haven't seen Dennis get off to quite as good a start as he was previously. And he was a big part of a lot of their T-sides. The other thing as well is that from a lot of the players, they've been a lot quieter since going on to Mirage, and realistically, that's not something you can allow when facing off against Nemiga, who just seem to be back in form. They've got the players they need. Speedak's performing well with the AWP, but we're seeing more from the likes of players like MDS than we would usually. They're coming up exactly when it's needed. I'm going to have a slight pause, just an investment now coming up for Sprout, as they do just go for some pistols. Obviously, at this point, the loss bonus is built up to pretty much the maximum, so they don't really have to worry about continuous buys. The problem is they are running out of rounds.
Yeah, running out of rounds, running out of time to really come back into this one. Decent nade from MDS, does a bit of early damage, but Dennis is past the flame, so he decides to be the one-man army pushing the B site initially. He will now be waiting for his teammates to join him, but there are 3 CTs stacked on B. It's a triangle of doom that Sprout are pushing into, and it's not one that they're going to be able to overcome. Speedak and MDS both getting kills, and Sprout at this point don't really have much of a chance here. Team flash, but it's fine. I think Nemiga have known at this point they've done enough. Oh, it's through the smoke as well. Snatchy gets dropped. Now it's just Spitty left, and oh, there's a gap in the smoke. I thought Jo might have seen Spitty there, but apparently not. Still though, Spitty's going to be falling shortly. P250 is caught out. Nemiga up to a 13-8 lead, and this is really a must-win round now for Sprout, and you can just see the money that Nemiga have. They've been winning convincing rounds as well, so Sprout are going to have to win a bunch of gun rounds to get themselves back into this game.
Yes, looking comfortable, and Speedak's continuing his form, 22-10 now. I think the highest might actually be Spitty on the other side with 14, which I don't want to harp on Spitty, but he is the in-game leader. He's not normally the man you'd expect to drag the team to victory. Look at this though, I like the chain, just spam through the smoke from Speedak. This man's normally using an AWP, but they just haven't killed him, so he's stuck with the AK. We saw this on the last map where the AWP wasn't working too well. He's clearly feeling confident in his rifling. And at this point, rightly so. Now with just 3 players remaining after, what, 20 seconds had gone on the clock? The bomb stuck at the top of mid. Jo not really covering it off. They've decided just to leave him at the top while Dennis watches, oh sorry, Speedak watches underpass. There is going to be a player in the form of Dia looking to try and make a play out of the palace, but there are multiple players still around this angle. They know that they can rotate in quickly through the connector and jungle if they need to. And that might actually be a possibility now, as there's still going to be 2 players. One of them is Lollipop, just looking to try and spot anybody coming out. He's got a counter flash ready if he needs it, but realistically, there's the push, there's the shots. There's Speedak to already put one in the dirt. They don't even know the Box is playing around this ninja position. Even if they force Lollipop out, it should be all too easy. It seemed like Box accidentally jumped, and it did give the game away to Faven. But nonetheless, he's still standing. Faven has to go running into this site. He kills off one, trying his best to be the hero in this round. Fakes out the plant, but there's a push coming in from ramp, and it will be Jo to close it out. 14 on the board now for Nemiga. Again, money becomes a fairly big issue. Actually, the T's are still going to force this.
Yeah, I can get behind this at this point. 14-8 down, you get AKs out. The nades is the biggest issue. I would have liked one more player at least to go down to a Galil, so you get a few more nades, but they decide to focus on the rifles rather than anything else. I still think the biggest problem for Sprout here has just been they've gone for this mid control round after round, and oh, maybe not with the flashbang though. Has to awkwardly throw it high, and Dennis gets the kill in reply. Nemiga though will be beginning to rotate these players over, and Box has just got one with the M4. So even though the bomb is trying to cross safely, look at the positions for Nemiga. They are swarming this A site. Oh, Sprout are in trouble. Jo gets one kill. Snatchy is getting himself onto the site, but Jo moves in, pounces from behind, and now Spitty, the man with the Deeg, has to try and win a 1v3.
Yeah, definitely not looking good for Sprout. This was a fairly heavy investment into this round. Pretty much everybody full buying. Well, unless Spiddy can find the drop on someone, I don't know how he's going to get back into this round. Box is low, but there's also a player in the corner just waiting. MDS gets bodied. That's a nice shot. Second as well. Oh, it came close. But unfortunately not quite enough. 15-8. A streak of rounds now for Nemiga that just seems unstoppable. And the last buy, or potential last buy, is going to be just as bad as the last few.
Yeah, Sprout scraping together whatever the hell they can. They do go for more Galils this time, a couple of AKs as well. And, well, Unicorn think that this one is all but over. Considering it's 15-8, I don't really blame them. Sprout slowing it down on the early mid presence, which I'm a fan of. And there you go, the flashbang does blind Box. He's still sticking around though, and he drops the bomb early. There's still players at top mid. There are players pushing through underpass as well, but Box gets out with his life. Lollipop gets one of his own, and Nemiga just need 3 more kills to close this out.
Yeah, Dennis has still managed to kill back in return, but Box again over the top of this smoke just seems to find so much success. Then Nemiga take their spot in the grand final, and now it will be up to Sprout to try and fight back through the lower bracket and get back in tomorrow.
Yeah, again, Box in that connector. It's that same spot every round. It feels like he just gets away with it. It's the CTs that put that smoke down as well a lot of the time. He gets his teammate to